Welcome everybody to another episode of Startaloo Boot Camp. My name is Anthony Bonavoglia, and we have a special guest with us, Dean Steinman of Ortho Marketing Group, and he's going to share with us some insight into what it's like to work with orthodontists. Probably not the easiest thing in the world. I know that's hard to believe for us orthodontists. We think we're so easygoing, and well, no, I don't think anybody believes that. So this is another episode of our boot camp series, and we've been doing them 3 times a week since the shutdown. And the goal is that hopefully everybody walks out of these sessions not just going, oh yeah, that's cool, but like you could actually do something about it. And obviously we do have our software, and everything that we're talking about can actually be put to action within the software. You don't need to do anything else if you're using our software. If you're not, you may have to get a little bit more creative, but the goal is so that you're getting things set up. So, hey, when we get out of this shutdown, we're ready to roll. It's going to be different, and it's okay. We just have to adjust, and we're going to adjust, and we're going to be fine. So, as I mentioned, Dean is the president of Ortho Marketing, and it's at orthomarketing.com. I think I got the spelling right this time. And, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dean here and make him the host. All right. So, Dean, you are the host. You got it.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Appreciate that. Thanks for letting me be the mighty host. Everybody, thanks so much for joining. I'm real excited. It's going to be very casual, so please, if anybody has any questions, just chime in anytime.
Oh, and I should have mentioned, Dean's a huge Patriots fan.
Sorry, breaking up. Yeah, with that said, Jets. As you can see. Yep, pretty excited about the draft in a couple of days. If anybody else is a Jet fan or a draftnik, just say hi. I can talk all day long about football.
I will just say this real quick. If you're not in the Northeast, if you're not a Jets fan, you really don't know pain and suffering. I had a patient come in the other day, and he was wearing his Jets uniform or his Jets outfit, and the kids were all dressed up in Jets. And I said, wow, I was like, your kids are Jet fans. It's great. And the dad said, I want them to learn pain and suffering at an early age. That's how I'm going to get them ready for life. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Right, exactly. Patriot fans have it too much smooth sailing no matter what. So we have to put them down a little bit. So with that said, it's a great segue into marketing and what have you. So, as Anthony said, dealing with orthodontists is a pleasure, but at the same time, it's a pain. When I started this, working with orthodontists, I had a full afro. Now imagine what happened dealing with these guys here. But we have a lot of fun. We're at Ortho Marketing. We've been working with orthodontists pretty much throughout the U.S., Canada, and now we're in Europe as well now for about 12 years. We work with almost about 100 practices, and things have changed obviously in the last 12 years as far as marketing goes. And but one thing that never hasn't changed is data. And that's what we're able to talk a little bit about is the importance of having data and when it comes to marketing, and the amazing platform of Startaloo and how it really helps us help you. Before this, it was very, very, very hard to get the information. As if somebody said to you, hey, how many consults, say if this was a normal month and people you actually see in patients, how many consults did you do this month or last month? Hopefully you know the answer. And from there, well, those are those people who did the consult that were ready. How many started? Well, hopefully you know the answer to that. And then from there, your close rate, what happens, and how many of them go on to recall and what happens from there. And so it's real important to have the right platform in place for your marketing. And it's a lot of variables involved with marketing now. It's not just having a website, you put it up and all of a sudden, boom, we're going to see patients. It's like building it. You're baking a cake. You can't just use flour. You got to have all the ingredients to build it to make a great cake. And the same thing with marketing. There's a lot of variables. But at the end of the day, the website is the center of the universe. It's the sun. And all of the peripheral planets are all the marketing pieces, from SEO to social media to Google, local to Instagram to retargeting to Google ads, Facebook ads, et cetera, et cetera. So when it comes to marketing, All right, you have to have a game plan in place. Just like you can't put on a liner number 24 before you put a liner 7 on. Okay, you can't put a liner 32 on before you put number 9 on. You have to have a right game plan in place, and that's the same thing with marketing. And you really need to make sure that you are hitting the right buttons and sending the right information out, because you got one chance to make that first impression and get somebody's attention and to get the right message to them. You can't use the same message for everything.
Do you find it's tough when to figure out what is the right strategy? You know, as an orthodontist, you know, I hear all these there's a lot of different marketing strategies, and you know, with an unlimited budget, you'd probably do everything and say, hey, let's see what happens. But that's not reality, and sometimes I find it a little challenging to figure out what is the right strategy. You know, if I only have a set budget, how do you, of all these different options, I mean, you mentioned a lot of different options, how do you help like an orthodontist decide this is a good fit for you, and you know what, this probably isn't the best place to put your marketing dollars?
Good question. And the answer is every practice has unique challenges and unique goals. Just like you can't use the same aligners for every patient, we don't use the same marketing strategy for every practice. Practice in Poughkeepsie, New York has different marketing strategies and different target market. There's somebody in Manhattan and somebody in Sheboygan and somebody in Dallas and somebody in Germany. So the most important thing is to know your target market, to know who you're trying to reach, and to be able to message them and to put information in their hands that they want to know, that what is going to curl their toes, what's going to get them to say, yeah, I'm interested. And you have to build a relationship with people online. It's not just these days of clicking a button and what, great, we'll sign up now, we'll register today and schedule an appointment. Well, they want to know who you are, you know, so you have to show them your capabilities, you have to show them your reviews and let them, wow, this guy has 147 reviews, people must like him. This person is, you know, show them your Instagram page to show people that you're in the smile business and great smiles you're putting out there and you're making your patients smile. Show the fun of the office, that, you know, people may be coming to you for the next, you know, 12, 18 months, you know, well, show them they're not going to be dreading it. Show them that you guys have fun, that it's a cool place to go to. And then from there, know what to say to people. That's the most important thing, is to have the right message and the right marketing strategy in place. But at the end, we're using the same ingredients, okay? You're using your website, you're using social media, you're using SEO, you're using Google or Facebook or Instagram ads, but you have to have the right message in place and the right budget involved, and that's kind of where data comes in. You have to have the right numbers, you have to know your numbers, and you have to know what to do. I mean, if anybody watch Shark Tank, if you do, what's the one thing they ask you? What are your numbers?
Your numbers, yeah.
You don't know your numbers, you lost them. Goodbye. You know, I'm not giving you money. You know, Mr. Wonderful. You know, goodbye. You're dead to me.
Right.
You know your numbers. Know what it takes to get a new patient in. Know what, how many, you know, steps needs to be taken to get them to start. Do you just go right for the close, or do you try to build up a relationship and say, hey, check out our reviews before you sign up now? Or ask somebody, or go to our YouTube channel to learn more about us and learn the difference between Invisalign and braces, or learn about our financing options or what have you. So you have to take the right steps involved. And at the end of the day, you still always want to have that little carrot there for somebody to sign up, or to, you know, to come in for a consult. But how do you get to that point? And that's where marketing comes in.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, that's something that we've talked about on some of the other boot camp series, is this idea of qualifying your patients. And, you know, so I think that's kind of what you're discussing as far as having the right strategy to get the right qualified patient in your office so that they're going to start, as opposed to just this, let's just throw this huge net out. And that's just not really, you know, it's certainly not budget friendly, and it's not really efficient. I mean, it's not really targeting your market audience, which is what you know, what you need to do, which is what you've described. And I think, you know, when you talk about the data, I mean, it's all the same thing, is, you know, let's really be very honed in on who we're targeting, because, you know, we don't have unlimited budgets. And so we've got to be very strategic in who we're going to market to, especially time like this where we're coming out of this shutdown. So that's why this was I was excited about this conversation, because, you know, we got to come out of this and we've got to be very targeted in our marketing, because our budgets are going to be different than they were 3 months ago.
You know, I just read a couple of interesting articles over the weekend as far as loyalty goes. And loyalty is out the window now, guys, across the board. It's going to be a wild west and a potential gold rush for any business when this is over. because out of sight, out of mind. Quick story is, I've been ordering the same pizza place for the last 20 years, and my kids are home now for a few weeks, and so when I order pizza, and the place we order from is closed. So
Right.
what do? So we went on, something on Facebook showed up, and somebody's delivering, and whatever it is, and they gave us great wings and good pizza. So we ordered, and we ordered again. So there's a chance that the company that the pizza place we're always using, lost us.
Interesting.
So when this is over, so even if you're not open now, you still have opportunities to get people to come in through virtual consults and through your branding. And then when this is over and the green light has kind of been lifted and you could go to town, well, you better have a game plan in place, because if you don't, a competitor of yours will be better organized, better prepared, and you have one chance to get that market, and it is available no matter where you are. The market will be available for you to dominate if you take the right steps. And again, the only way to do so is to know what to say, when to say it, and that's where data comes back into play.
Yeah. Cool. Now, I think that's why I hope everybody who's, watching this is thinking, okay, what action can I take when I get open? Not just, this wealth of information, but also, again, if you're using our software, I highly encourage that you start applying these things. That's why we even have worksheets, so that people physically have to go through the worksheet and actually start using it, because you've got a lot of, if you're using our program, you've got a lot of these tools already. So why don't you jump in and I know you have a few slides to share. Why don't you show us, a little bit about data and what we were discussing.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So if you can, just open it up for me.
Let's see. So if go to the bottom, you should be as the, if you scroll to the bottom there to say screen share and a little green button.
There it is, okay. Oh, it's my screen, not yours. That was my screen. Hey, you want to just open it up and I'll just go from there? Open up the slide.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. If I make you. All right, technical difficulties here. Give me 1 second. All right, because I know you emailed them to me. So, all right, while I'm doing that, tell me a little bit about some of the data that you would really like to get back from, your clients that you work with.
Yep. So first of all, I'd like to find out what services you're offering. Okay, it's very important. And how do you want to position your practice? Do you want to be an Invisalign-centric practice? Do you want to be a traditional bracket central practice? Do you want to be a teen practice, adult practice, combo of the two? That's real important to know. Is the best way is how do you want to present yourself, and how do you want to be positioned in the market? This day and age, a lot of people are wanting to be Invisalign centric. There's a lot of benefits to that. And by offering Invisalign, it's a great way to make life simpler. And there's a lot of great tools out there to make life easier across the board if you are offering using Invisalign. So one thing to do is you need to know, well, who's your target market? What services are you selling to them? Do you see that the majority of your adult patients are going after Invisalign or using Invisalign? Well, that's what you want to market to. You don't want to market, braces with colors, to an adult male.
Do you find that as an orthodontist, sometimes I feel like we want to market to everybody. Like I don't want to alienate this segment because I still have some patients. Like my practice is majority kids. I do have a fair, because I do have a lot of Invisalign, so I do have a fair amount of Invisalign patients. But if you came in my office, you would think it was primarily kids. And I'm always like afraid to just jump in with, well, I'm an all kids practice, because I don't want to alienate that segment of my practice, or potentially lose patients. Do you find that other orthodontists have that problem of committing to a set brand?
Of course, but you have to realize that you have to put Invisalign in your set brand, because Line Tech has done an amazing job branding their program. And there you go. And the public thinks that Invisalign are braces. So if you basically watch any type of TV these days, and whoever watches live TV, you can probably count on one finger the percentage of people that are watching regular TV now. But those that do, you see Invisalign or you see SDC, promoting their stuff, and that people think that's braces. So,
Mhm.
even if you don't even offer Invisalign, the most searched term in the orthodontic community is Invisalign. More people search for Invisalign than they do braces or orthodontist. All right,
Yeah.
so you need to make sure that even if you don't offer Invisalign, or you're not Invisalign centric, or you're offering clear aligners, but you don't love the Invisalign platform, still let people find you through the words Invisalign, promote Invisalign. Then you can let them know that you have other options or what have you. That gets them in the door.
Yeah,
So
that's a great pearl. That is the number one search thing. So even if you're not like a heavy Invisalign practice, that people are still.
they are.
So I wonder if that's moving more towards clear aligners. I wonder if, as there's more clear aligners in the market, if the
Not even
if,
close.
if
Not
was
even,
it
it's not even close yet.
not even close? Yeah.
Position, if you're, I'm dating myself, but if you go back 15 years or so, you'd Google, or look for a Xerox machine.
Mm.
Make copiers, Canon make copiers, but it's a Xerox machine,
Right.
So there you go. No matter what, you were looking for a Xerox machine, but other companies sold it. Same thing with clear aligners. It's Invisalign, is how it's presented, and other companies offer Invisalign to the layman,
Right. Right.
So today we'll talk a little bit about the data, and that's me right there. So without data, this is how marketing works. All right, put a blindfold on, turn around 4 or 5 times, then try to shoot. Good luck. All right, it's just you're not going to hit your bullseye. You're not going to hit your target market, and that's where the right data and the right plan comes into place, because you have to know what you're doing. Just like I mentioned before, you can't put on bracket number 22 before you put on bracket number 2. You just can't. Same thing with this. So this is really a perfect snapshot of what happens if you don't have the right data and the right plan in place. Is you're just going to miss your target every single time. And that's where StarLoop comes in, is the ability to give you this data and to give the marketing company you're working with, or whoever, the data to make your life easier and to make you more efficient and effective. And that's the goal at the end of the day, is to reach the right people with the right message to position you to get in the ball game. And that's what we want to do. Our job is to get you somebody to call you, to request an appointment, to get more information. And then from there, hopefully you have a good TC or a good program in place, which will do this. And if not, well, there's a great virtual TC out there that you can hire as well, who can really take things to the next level for you.
What do you, how do you typically ask practices to provide you data? I know Startaloo allows you to do it it's very hands-off. It immediately goes to the client, to the consultant, and at the end, I'll just show for all our users how you can set that up. But, aside from Startaloo users, how are you typically asking to get the data that you need?
Just like that, I'm asking and praying. But we don't. It's very, very, very rare that somebody will have a spreadsheet or have the numbers. I've got a select few clients, maybe 10, 15% of clients actually have this data and are on the board. The rest don't. And then from there, it makes both of our lives a little bit more difficult, but we get through it. It's not at the end of the day, a game killer, but it makes life much, much easier to know what we're playing with, what's in the deck there.
And that is a universal problem. We work with a number of marketing companies, and that what you're describing is a universal problem across most of them, that they'll say that just not getting what they need. And it's not, maybe a lot of times it's not lack of caring on the orthodontist side. It's just, who does it fall on what team member is that going to fall on? And, what's their priorities? And, a lot of times it might go to like your scheduling coordinator. Well, if they've got a patient or, patients in front of them, that's the priority, not filling out a spreadsheet. So that it's a challenge, it's a challenge because we're just not really, our infrastructure of our practices really aren't built unless you have, one dedicated person that maybe for marketing, which, probably majority of practices don't have a sole person dedicated for that.
Right. So this is really what 95% of practices are doing for marketing.
Yeah.
And 95% of, agencies are doing this. If you hire a marketing company, this is how they're doing it without data. So to be able to have the right data, know what to do with it, that's the key as well. Sure, here is everything on a silver platter, but now what? Well, okay, how do you take all this data and make it work for you? So that's where the next step comes in.
Right.
So but let's keep going. That's number 6. One more.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So this is kind of what it looks like now. All right. You got piece of paper, you got spreadsheets, you got graphs, and you got everything, and just kind of mixing it up. And well, what do? How do you get this nice and clean? And how does this work for your advantage? And how do you make heads or tails of all this stuff? Well, again, that's where something like Startaloo comes in. Is it makes life easier for everybody, and it cleans it up. So this is a before picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go back 2, and you'll see the after. And then, all right, boom. So this is what it should look like. On Startaloo, everything organized. You've got your all of your opportunities here. What do you do with it? So you've got your ads, you've got the placement, you've got your emails, you've got analysis, you got SEM, social media marketing, you've got SEO across the board. So this is really what data should look like, in its raw form with a right program like Startaloo in place, because it's all right there. Now what's great is you could basically pick and choose which of this data you want, and then figure out how to deal with it. Like, for example, if you're a big email marketing company and you use email as your main source of follow-ups or marketing, well, here's the email is a big chunk of that. And what do you send to people? Or is SEO your number one resource? Or same thing with content or videos.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, though, the internet should be one of number 1 or 2 biggest sources of new patients across the board. And if it's not, you're missing out. And this really is the piece to put it all together.
Yeah, and I think too, one thing we talk a lot about, the direct to consumer clear aligner companies, and they get this, right? They're using a lot of analytics to drive their decision making on their businesses. I mean, I'm sure legions of teams of data analysts, and it's all coming together. And not that we have to compete with them, but just of that mindset of, if you're going to run your practice like a business and be successful, you have to think of this. When I hire a company to do marketing with me, you're a part of it. It's not like hire and my hands are off and let's see the flood of patients come in, because in corporate America, it just doesn't work that way, and it really doesn't work that way even in our practice. We have to own our part to make it efficient.
You have to, right? And again, the only way to get this data is through the practice, and the only way the practice can deliver it the right way, that's not a spreadsheet or a mess or the first slide with papers all over the place, is through the right platform.
Right.
So now this is everything cleaned up, so you could really now be able to choose what you want to do and what's going to happen with it. So are you need to work on your search terms? Do you need more people? Do you need to work on your SEO? Do you need when it comes to your marketing, more people coming in through SEO? If you see that you are getting 70–80% of your new patient flow through SEO, well, that's really where you have to double down on and get more of that. If you see that you're getting a big chunk of your patients through social media, same thing. How's it coming through? If you see a chunk of them coming through insurance, okay, or a certain insurance provider, that's another way to know what to do with the data, and then to take it out and remarket to it and use that as the right tagline and the right hook. You have to nobody reads anymore. So the data that goes out there, the marketing you do, has to be very visual. Okay, nobody's going to read more than 2 or 3 words. The average person within 3 seconds has to know who you are, what you do, and how to contact you through your marketing, which is a lot in 3 seconds. So that's where the data comes out is, okay, well, we know that the majority of our new patients are moms in this zip code who are looking for Invisalign. Well, boom, now you can target your SEO for that. You could send out, market via social media through that. You can set up your retargeting ads to hit those particular messages. You could set up your referral program to target that as well, all based upon data that you get. So you don't want to be, fumbling around in the dark. You need to know exactly who is coming in, what they're looking for, and then from there, how to expand on it.
And so that's it right there. right? You just put together a theoretical marketing package based on
That's it.
information that you got in. And if you don't have the information, we're just throwing money at stuff and hoping stuff works. And we're like, hey, I got X number of patients that came in. We don't know if that's, really, you have no context of whether that's good or bad.
Right.
And so, in order for you guys, because you have so many tools at your disposal, you have to figure out what's a good fit. You got to have the information to make that connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's real important there. Then we got the last slide, which is the other way. Back.
Oh, sorry, this one?
There you go. Perfect.
All right.
So this really here is a marketing floor plan per se. Okay. Marketing consists of a lot of different variables, and what is it, the message that you want them to do, and how are you getting the message out? Is pricing the number one touch point? Is it a promotion? Is it a network being insurance? Is it a particular plan? Is it a service that you're offering that, the Invisalign team, or is it a new aligner type platform? Is it marketing to existing customers to get them to become referral sources for you? Are you seeing a majority of your clicks coming from organic ads, organic SEO, or advertising? Publicity through different social media platforms, is that the way to do it? So by having all of your ducks in a row here, then you could choose which one to use the best. Obviously, you don't know this until you try it all.
Right.
Okay, but by working with a company like us or anybody else, they shouldn't have to throw stuff against the wall and hope it sticks. We know what needs to be done. It's just to just be done correctly for you and your market to reach your goals.
Right.
And that's kind of where, again, the data comes in. Is who is the last 100 people that we met with? Well, what's their demographic? What's their age? What's their income? Are they looking for adults or kids? What made them say yes? Is pricing the number one reason people say no, or is they just not ready? And if pricing is number one, well, how do you overcome that price? Unless they're on Medicaid and you accept that, pricing should never be an option, never be a reason you don't get somebody in. There's always ways to overcome that objection if you work smart.
Right.
Okay? But again, you have to get them in the door, have a good TC that can do it, and then have a program in place to follow up, to keep in touch with them. 90% of the practice that before we work with them, they do 1 or 2 touches after somebody comes in, and that's it.
Yeah.
And think about it. You got to keep hitting these people over again. You keep a message on them, because eventually they're gonna go to somebody.
Right.
Why not you? So by having the right marketing plan in place and knowing what to say to them is the most important thing. Instead of just, hey, come to us, we're the best. That's just not going to work. Nobody wants to hear from you how great you are. They want to hear from other people how great you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key is from marketing as well, is taking your customers and turning them into salespeople for you. And again, that's all done through the data. So,
right.
To be able to distribute your information through using the right information and delineate it to make sure that the right people see it at the right time, that's the key. But putting up a post on Facebook at 10 at night might not be the right time to do so, or might be the perfect time to do so. That again is data. Who knows when your people or potential people are looking on Facebook,
right?
Or looking at Instagram, or when is the best time for somebody to contact you? Think about it. If it's in a typical regular day, most people who will be calling you are mom. Well, if mom's working, mom's available to look on the internet or find your information before work. If that's the case, you're closed. Lunch hour, you're probably closed. After work, after dinner, you're closed. So what happens? How do you handle that? How do you bring in that lead? What do you do with that stuff? Well, that's again where a platform like Startler will come into place, is to be able to take the information, take the data, take the leads, and work with it. And that and that's makes life easier for us, makes life easier for you, makes for the TC, and at the end of the day, everybody's happy if you play nice.
Right. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm gonna because I don't want to. We try to keep our boot camp sessions short because I know we do a lot. We're doing 3 a week, so I'm gonna just transition to show just a real quick, and I'd like to get your opinion on what I'm going to show here on how you can use the software. And you seeing this, your mind is going to start going on. So I'm curious to see what your take is. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just do a little example here. So, what we're going to do is in this example is we're going to imagine we're going to do clear lines. I'm going to use that one because that's what you had mentioned, clear aligners or Invisalign or whatever it may be is something that is, what people really want to market to. So for everybody who's using our software, this is how you can use it. And it's, very, very powerful tool in really maximizing your ROI, which is exactly what, Dean is talking about. So you can go in through your procedures and we're going to just select just clear aligners only, right? And now we go into our heat map, our geoanalytics. And in this is a demo program. So, let's look to see what comes up. And we can see, where we're really strong for clear aligners and where we're not so strong, right? So, right off the bat, something you were talking about before is, what zip code do they come from? So, now we get a good sense of where we're strong based on our geography. So we can see there's 2 zip codes here. Maybe we want to target 12533. Now you were talking about whether it's females or males, right? So if we look at our analytics, our clear aligner conversion rate is pretty low in this example. It's about 45%, which incidentally, clear aligner conversion rate, what we've seen tends to be lower than, braces, but that's a discussion for another day. And so, we want to hone in on 12533 because we feel like we're pretty, we're doing well there. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go ahead and select 12533. And now we can see we just jumped our conversion rate by 20%. So this is a good market.
Sure.
I mean, would you agree? So now, would your wheels be spinning like, hey, maybe I want to hit clear aligner in 12533, some sort of geo-targeted campaign?
Better, let's scroll down and look at the numbers and the pricing.
Pricing is pretty close, right? There's only,
right.
So money doesn't seem to be that much of a deciding factor. Mm-hmm. Now let's look at our demographics and let's just pull up females and we'll say 25 to 35 or 25 to 40. And you can see it jumps up to 80%. So now what would you do with this information? And look at our, our pricing difference here. So we've actually flipped it where people are paying more versus what they're walking away from. So, would you do something if you had this information? What would you do differently for your marketing based on this information that you have here?
This information would show me that price is really not an issue per se. So none of the messages would be pricing. It would all be geared towards females and making their life easier and targeting them with. And now it's better if we could see how many of those females decision makers were mom or not, if that's even part of the demographic, but better to show family and to show what have you. But you want to be able to talk to, ads should relate to people. Marketing message should relate to people. So the message should be visually to see somebody that you could relate to that says that could be me or my friend, and that's working so well for them, and a quote from them, that's what it does. That will tell the story in itself. Yeah. So that's what you want, is to put a teen in this one if you're trying to target, and 80% of the people who are converting are moms. Okay, you're not targeting kids or teens, you're targeting mom. You're not targeting dad. You're not targeting family. So it's really showing mom in there and making mom happy. Mm-hmm. So it's a visual, and again, it's all about what is the message that they're seeing right away with a smiling person, and from there, I said the dollars really shouldn't even come into play. But if you have a lower conversion rate with dollars, different story, and then from there, the message should be somewhere along the lines of different offers, different options, monthly budgets, braces at your budget, braces as low as blah blah blah. So if money was the issue, but according to this data, it's not, and that's right. Golden, because if you don't want to put the message out there that nobody cares about.
Right. So yeah, so it's all about crafting, and if you can get females between ages 25 and 40 into your practice from 12533, I mean, think about that. You're almost doubling your conversion rate, right? So you talk about getting qualified patients in the door, your marketing dollars are going to go so much further.
Yeah. 8% blows away. I mean, whoever's watching this, tell me that you're doing an 80% close rate, and I'll be at your house tomorrow. You show me what you're doing, because nobody has those kind of numbers. But to be able to show this is so powerful, and be able to now to take this information And the most important thing is, what do you do with it? That's the key.
Right.
Is take this data and know how to convert it and know how to push it back out there. Otherwise, what good is it doing you? Sure, I got all this great data and all these spreadsheets, and then your head will spin. So
Right.
you know what to do with it, and that's the key.
Yeah, and then just to show, real quick for our users also, I'm just going to grab a custom range so we get some more information. Then what you can do is when patients are coming in and you're tracking where they're coming in from, if we grab, let's do our referral. We'll just say Facebook marketing. Just run a report card because we can see our Facebook marketing, let's say, is getting 81%. I know these numbers are, demo numbers, but you can run a report card on just your Facebook marketing. And so, if you're working with a consultant like yourself or a marketing firm like yourself, just send them, they can have access to these report cards. And now you have everything you need to know from that Facebook marketing campaign. How many patients came in, how many started, what did it produce? So you get an actual dollar production value. What is the demographic of the patients that are coming in and what are they converting at? So it's just kind of a very easy way of doing what I just showed, a little bit more streamlined. You can see, maybe you did 2 campaigns. You did one over the summer and I don't know, some sort of direct mailer or something. So you can actually split those out. So you can get all the information you need. And this is really, if you're doing one very specific campaign, you just need to run a report card and then you have everything you need to make, better decisions. What zip code are they coming from and that sort of information.
Real power. This is something like this has never been out there before. And, it makes my life so much easier. It makes us more efficient, more effective. At the end of the day, everybody's happy. We get more patients coming in, get you more consults, and, and it makes you work less to make more.
Right. We did add this too, which would show you for every 1% increase in production, how much more you would make. And that's just for your Facebook marketing. So in this case, if I could increase my Facebook marketing by just 1%, going to make an extra $3,000. So, you can always see just by stripping out. I feel like it's actually interesting. We put this in too, the lost production value. This one stings. When you run a report, it's great to see your numbers. And if you're doing well and you look at your numbers, you're like, I'm killing it. And then you see this and you're like, oh man, how much money could I have converted? It'll motivate you. It'll motivate you differently than if you look at your own production numbers. So we stuck that in there and, do with it what you'd like. So I'm going to just show here, we'll kind of wrap things up. We try to keep them around 20 minutes, but this was awesome. Dean, what you're sharing is just, like I said, gold. For anybody who's using our program, that you're working with a consultant, you're working with a marketing team, and you want them to have their data, your data, access to your data, so you don't have to send them reports. They have real-time access to it. It's very, very powerful. You just go into your little icon here where you do your setup. You go into the users, and then right underneath it, you see where it says users. You can add a consultant. They won't have access to your workflow system, just the analytics system. And you can just designate one user if you'd like, or as many as you'd like to be able to have access to it. So that, a team like Dean, who does, amazing job with marketing, can have all the information they need on the fly. They're not bothering you, and never again do they have to ask for spreadsheets because they have more information than, they'll probably even be able to work through. And then certainly they can work with us as a team. Part of our support for our users is working with people like you, Dean, to help understand how to use this information, because that's what we're here for. We've been looking at it for a long time, and for someone who's new, it may take a little bit to get up to speed. So, we're here to help in that capacity as well. So I think, that wraps up this boot camp session. I am so thankful, Dean, for you to come on and, take your time. I know you're busy right now, and to share your information. And you and I speak the same language, because, we just know that, if the offices give you what you need, you're going to be so much more successful, which is going to make them so much more successful, which is what we're all shooting for.
Yeah. So, thanks so much for having me on. If everyone needs any help, always reach out to me. Website is orthomarketing.com. To follow us on social media, listen to our podcast. We have some great podcasts. Anthony and I will be doing one very soon as well. Thanks so much, everybody. Good luck and stay safe out there. It's it's scary, but if you use the right programs, you could get through this. And then when it clears up, it's going to be a gold rush. It's going to be an opportunity to really do well. So, but you have to have the right pieces in place to do so. and this really should be a staple for you. So there you go.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Dean. Thanks, everybody at home. On Wednesday, we're going to have our next boot camp session. This is going to be awesome. We're going to shift a little bit. We're going to actually talk about insurance discounts and just discounts in general. You know, what's too much, and, you know, where should you kind of start thinking about maybe capping them and those sort of things. And we're going to have Jill Allen on our program, which I'm super excited about. She's a wealth of information and just a really great person. So join us on Wednesday at 4:00, and all these podcasts, these webinars will be on our Facebook page if you'd like to, you know, ever watch them again. And also our worksheets are on there too. So if you'd like to, you know, fill them out, again, just trying to get everybody working so that when we open, we're going to be stronger. And take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you again, Dean.
Be safe. Bye-bye.